Hi, Olaf, Mike is back. Can we do this hungover? Let's see. Hey, hi, hello, it's your boy Nate. I usually read books because reading is sexy, and if you're not reading, you're not sexy. But today we got the movie wrap up. Let's do a head count, everybody. Okay, not bad. I did 17 movies in the month of June, and let's go through them. Start off the month with The Black Trump Card out of 1964. This is just a fun, basic Yakuza film. Sometimes I get into moods, sometimes I'm in like a kung fu movie mood, or like, yeah, Yakuza mood, and I think it was because the weather was warming up, actually hot as balls right now. I just like these films because they're kind of like cool, easy, breezy. And yeah, nothing really notable about this one. It was just a fun Yakuza film. Next up, two of my friends hosted a film screening at this really cool place called Salt in Seoul. They do like active grassroots community building, and they presented Grand Tour out of last year. It's about a man who is essentially escaping his wife, running away from her through different countries. And a Grand Tour was something that, like, back in the heyday, privileged white boys would be able to go and travel the world and see what it had to offer. The film takes place in the Philippines, Vietnam, Japan, everywhere. Literally. Throughout all of this, and the construction of this film is really interesting because while they were location scouting, it was during the pandemic. So when the pandemic hit, everything stopped in terms of filming and cast and crew and everything. It's an interesting mess of a film of how you can reconstruct mistakes to create something a bit more experimental and avant-garde. Am I seeing things? Anybody else saw that? Anyway. Yeah, but it's shot in this black and white. The film is spoken in so many different languages, and it was all due to production of the film being stopped because of COVID. I think it's an interesting piece in terms of like places speaking for themselves. I think when we watch films, we forget setting plays a huge part. But in this film, setting is allowed to speak for itself through the streets of Vietnam and motorbikes and everything. Or a ramen restaurant in Japan where the people are huddled together by these that are divided by hanging cloth and creates this space for people huddled together to eat ramen. And yeah, it's just things like that where, yeah, setting bloom throughout this guy that travels everywhere. Honestly, a bit too long. I think it borrows a lot from Apichatpong, the Thai director, in terms of like slow cinema. And then for Pride Month, gotta do some gay films, guys. Did East Palace, West Palace. This is a really, really interesting piece of Chinese queer history. It's about a little gay, and he's out cruising, but he cruises in the wrong hood because it's highly policed. A police officer picks him up and then arrests him and puts him in hold for a bit. And through that holding, we get a relay of queer becoming and understand the way that our main character loved in different ways, all the ways that he learned love, also through like different sexual taboos. And this is China's first openly gay film. It's by Zhang Yuan, and he also made a film about Tiananmen Square and a bunch of other really cool stylistic films. And it's just crazy that like he got away with so much. One, the film being banned, and then having to run away from your country just to make movies for the love of cinema, and I just love that. Anyway, this film is incredible in its narrative structure. I just love how easily it slips into the past tense and revisiting memories of queer love. I don't know, there's just a bunch of really cool things in terms of drag and the ending as well. It's directed by a straight man, I will say that, but there's so much tenderness and care in the way that he allows the characters to envelop each other, and it's this like really beautiful choreography as he's relaying his queer history. It's all done in this very small capacity of a holding place at a police station, and it's yeah, just exquisite, beautiful. Loved this so much. Next up, I did Bring Her Back out of this year. Finally, guys, a 2025 release. I do swear I watch movies from this year. I do. Yeah, this one was, oh gosh, guys, that cantaloupe knife scene, oof, God. It's an interesting direction for the Australian filmmakers. They did, is it Talk to Me? I think it is, guys. Hold on. It is. Okay. In terms of their direction away from Talk to Me, which I absolutely loved. This one, also good. I just don't think it hit the notes as hard. Everything felt really sentimental. I think it was headed towards that like Hereditary direction where you incorporate actual human drama and trauma and pulling horror out of real human experiences. I thought Sally Hawkins... I just said a name. I just said a name and I don't think that's right. Is it? Okay, it is. Sally Hawkins, though, does a phenomenal job. But I don't know, either through script and especially through music, I hate when films have to feed emotions into you and like force feed it into you, where they play that stupid ambient music to signal that it's a sad part. And that's so stupid to me because I'm just like, that's really condescending to us as an audience. Like, I know this is a sad scene. They're talking about loss, who died in their family. I don't need you to put your dumb fuck music over a scene just to make me feel something, because I already feel it. If it's through good writing and good actors, you don't need that music. All the way up to the end as well, and I just thought it was, I don't know, a bit condescending. Whereas like Hereditary, I think, does a phenomenal job not having to use that music and using silence to sit with that horror. When you have that deep silence in film, you have to sit with it, and it's really uncomfortable. I think that's what makes a good horror film, where you don't need the intrusions of these little gimmicks to add effect to something. Yeah, I just think filmmakers need to trust their audience more. Next up, out of 1982, I did A Different Image by Why am I looking everywhere? Oh, God, guys. God, I really can't do this today, can I? Why is my coffee so far away? Oh, love, I can't do this today. I don't know what's going on. Out of 1982, I did A Different Image by Alil Sharon Larkin. LA-based film, so hey, LA, love ya. It's about a black woman heavily thinking about her home back in Africa, her family, her very roots, while also exploring sexual identity, freedom, trying to exist outside of the male gaze. It's very sweet, very delicate, very soft film. The film's centrality is actually around Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison, about the identity of a black person, but then on top of that, what is the identity of a black woman, and trying to escape the male gaze and exist for oneself. Really beautiful. There's lots of reading and sitting in the park. There are a lot of shots set on the lawns of what look like parking lots, but really interesting in terms of like a LA suburban picture. Yeah, I love this a lot. Then, yes, we got another 2025 release, guys. We did Sinners. Lots of fun. Really no other notes. Yeah, had no idea it was a vampire movie. Sorry if I spoiled that for you, but there's a beautiful dance sequence, and if you know, you know, that I thought worked. But yeah, it was fun. Then in 1961, I did The Connection, which is this crazy non-documentary documentary about jazz. Just about these jazz musicians who shoot up, play music, and smoke too much. And it's just done in this like very claustrophobic set. The way that the camera moves and the way the actors move, it definitely plays out like a teleplay. But yeah, if you like hot jazz, then this will do it for you. Needed to mention that this film was directed by Shirley Clarke, whose background sits heavily with dance, so there's this like beautiful choreography that she has in relation to like camera and person. So if you are thinking about like how a camera should shoot a person while also allowing the person to be themselves and tracking their movements and everything, this does it. I loved the way that she moved the camera all up and around. It made me gasp at times because I'm just like, damn, how do you do that out of 1961 to create still such fresh, inventive camera movements that just feel fun. Then in 1979, I watched this experimental film called Arena, which is basically a montage of hand-painted masks that pass through each other. It's like 8 minutes. Fun. Fun. No other notes. Then of 1983, I watched Headphone Lullaby. I watched a Yakuza film from this guy in May, and I thought, okay, let me try out some of his other filmography, but this one is so fun. It's like a perfect summer coming-of-age Yakuza film. There's gang violence, there's cheap 80s J-pop, and fun fits. Just love all the colors in this. It was really poppy. Again, I love this director because he has like really fun camera movements and editing techniques that just create really good transitions into moments that feel completely upbeat and of its time and of the 80s. Shigeyuki Yamane, he does like really fun movies. Definitely felt like pictures you caught in the theater to stay out of the heat during summer. So yeah, definitely rec this for summer. Then out of 2022, I did Walk Up by Hong Sang-soo. I did this for my film club with my friends. Yeah, I loved this a lot, actually, in retrospect. We actually had our film club meeting last night. I love this one a lot because apparently it's a shift in Hong Sang-soo's filmography and style, but it's about a film director and his daughter, and they meet this landlady. As they talk and talk, they slowly creep up through this walk-up of a building. It contains a restaurant, a little cooking class, artist studio, and an apartment or two. And as they go up through memory, chatting, and such, the director eventually enters this sort of dream or idealized living for himself. Yeah, I thought this is interesting. Oh god, that yeah was so aggressive, guys. What am I on today? Ah, but don't you love this natural light? And Hong Sang-soo does this interesting thing with time jumps where it defies conventional narrative structure. He'll do these time jumps. You never necessarily know if the cuts are towards the future, if it's like a future scene, or if it's a moment from the past, or if it's hypothetical at all, entirely imagined. And then it gets to a point where, like, it doesn't really matter. I just love that narrative structure where time doesn't exist. It's as elusive as the chats that the characters have and the secrets that come out, the emotions and feelings that spill out of the characters. And yeah, enjoyed this lots as a Hong Sang-soo film. Then out of 1983, I watched PP Writer, another Yakuza film. It's a crazy film. It's about this fat kid who gets abducted by the Yakuza. Lots of heroines involved. It's a runaway story, search and find story, while also being a musical at points. It's ludicrous. The opening shot's crazy because it really sets the tone for the film. It's just shot in one take that treks a pool scene, abducting the fat kid from the pool scene, moving it through school, and then out. And there's 2 or 3 other long takes that are just fun to watch because the whole orchestration of that, doing so much within a long take is, yeah, impressive. But yeah, this was just very odd. You definitely get the mood of the film, but you don't get the mood of the characters. And so they're just kind of floundering on screen without real direction or personal drive. So it's a hard one to like, but it's okay for what it is. Then out of last year, I rewatched Queer, mostly because, oh, let me grab it. It was finally released in Korea, and CGV does this thing called That's the Ticket, where they offer ticket stubs as such. Look at that. The ticket stub for Queer. Hold on, folks. Oh, wait. Other side. Here we go. Ready? Ready? Oh, I can't. Okay, ready? Ah! Look at that. Sorry, a little close up for y'all. Look at that. God, guys, I love Korea. They put so much attention to detail in creating little things like this. Anyway, this was only about $8 to watch the movie and then to get this. But if you're a CGV member, that it's like, it comes with it. So it costs nothing to be a member. And yeah, I just love that. I think it's like crazy that in America, to watch a movie is like so expensive and you don't even get stuff like this. Like what? Anyway, God, for the love of cinema. Anyway, rewatched Queer because I've been unwell. Call me lovesick. This time around, I really focused on the yearning in touch and ghost touch and imagined touch. It's that invisible touch that you want to have, but it feels so forbidden at times, that wanting to reach out to the person that you want to love but can't. Luca does it in this really delicate way where there are wisps of Daniel Craig as ghost imaged, like trying to reach out to Drew Starkey. This time around, I thought it was so beautiful. I think mostly because when I watched it on my laptop, I didn't really see it, but to see it on the big screen. So guys, let it be known that don't watch all your movies on your laptop. If you have the time, if you have the chance, if you have the money, try and watch a movie in the theaters. But yeah, this definitely hit harder the second time around, and I just can't stop listening to Nirvana now. It's a problem. Then out of 2024, I watched Caught by the Tides. I've watched another movie from this director, whose name escapes me. Hold on, let's get the name, guys. By Jia Zhang-Ke, Ashes Pierced White. Incredible film. Loved it. It's like so many things at once. I don't really know how to describe it, but there are different cameras involved. It starts out heavily as a documentary into this abandoned theater that becomes a community space for like hard techno clubbing and drinking, singing, shot on this like camcorder. So it has this like grungy, crunchy, look to it all. It's a bit nauseating and carries the high of going out and dancing, but all of these people are like in their 30s or 40s. So it's this like interesting space for older adults that want that clubbing and lively night again. And then it shifts into narrative film about this woman who's searching for her husband who ran away from her. But it's all done in like a silent film kind of way. And then there's like further more interesting camera techniques and different usages of footage that existed in Ashes Purest White. So let it be known, guys, if you shot a previous film and want to reuse your footage, you totally can. I think this defies the conventions of cinema, makes it known that cinema is still an interesting medium that can show different ways of storytelling. This is like peak cinema to me, and I love it lots. Love all of like the experimental filmmaking that's occurring in China. Definitely need to do more Chinese films. Then in 2004, I watched Woman is the Future of Man, another Hong Sang-soo film for our film club. Yeah, we do like 2 films a month just to upkeep our movie goals. Trying to do 365 this year, guys. 365. I don't know if I can, but we trying. Yeah, this was early Hong Sang-soo. It's about a filmmaker who recently came back from America to visit old friends, and through that he gets mixed up in past loves, resurfaced teen angst, all to show that men don't really change. But you could easily write this off as a misogynist film, but I think what Hong Sang-soo was trying to do is convey what Korean men were like, especially for that time in the early 2000s, and sort of how decrepit, sleazy, and simple a man is, but not done in a very interesting way. And because it's early Hong Sang-soo, I think with a bit more writing and editing, he could have fleshed out really more interesting characters. But interestingly enough, I recently finished Dennis Lim's Tale of Cinema. He's heavily involved in film and in talks with filmmakers. He does a bunch of Q&As in New York. But he writes and quotes from Claire Denis, who said that the women in the film are great because they don't... The women are great because they are almost stronger than the men in the film. The men are portrayed as weak and aggressive, but the women sort of have this power over them because they fully understand themselves while the men don't. But Claire Denis here writes that the women constitute an axis of time in Hong Sang-soo's films. She notes, the women are true heroes, the brave ones. Are they violated, defeated? As they are, they remain the masters of time, of the time that divides the past and the present of the story, of all the time lost to the men. I just thought that was interesting, using women as markers of time. The film also jumps a lot between past and present in Hong Sang-soo's fashion. I just thought that was really interesting, where using character as a marker of time can propel plot. Did not like this that much, given that it was like early. I just felt like his characters weren't developed enough. Interesting to tie books and films and to have critiques like this. Oh yeah, if anyone wants like a good foray into Hong Sang-soo films, this is a good book to pick up after seeing Woman Alone at the Beach at Night, I think it's called. Oh, you know what, guys? I have the internet at the tip of my fingertips. On the Beach at Night Alone, I feel like that's a pitch-perfect Hong Sang-soo film, and definitely a great look at like Korean culture and Korean drinking culture and all of that, as well as Right Now, Wrong Then. I remember watching it at first and not entirely enjoying it, but I appreciate it for what it is. A stark look at like what Hong Sang-soo focuses on in terms of time and repetition. But yeah, those are 2 great films to start with, and then lean into this. Great writing. Then out of 2012, I watched Walker, which is literally about a monk who moves through the hustle and bustle of Hong Kong. This is by Tsai Ming-lang, and I really like his films for how slow they are. Pure slow cinema. Yeah, this movie is 26 minutes, but it felt like forever. But you definitely feel the spirituality of time as this monk moves through the city. Just interesting how you can convey and shoot how simple an action is, but in so many different ways. Then out of 2024, I watched The Shrouds by David Cronenberg. I think that's his name. God, guys, the issue with watching too many things and reading too many things is that I get names mixed up. It's David Cronenberg. I am right. I'm not crazy. Oh, God. This video is 40 minutes already. I hate myself. Okay, The Shrouds. So David. So David Cronenberg made this after his wife passed away. They were together for a really long time. and it's a grief piece, essentially. But what I find so fascinating about Cronenberg is that he pushes the limits of cinema, and that I think he's always ahead of the curve. This involves so many different things, but it's essentially about a man who loves his wife so much and grieves so much of her loss that he's put a camera inside of her coffin so that he can watch her body decompose. Essentially, there's something so necrophilic about all of it. And this shows up in all of his other works as well. Like, he is really concerned with sex and death and why it always has a harmonious relationship. And this goes beyond it, but also through AI, avatars, the geopolitics of China and Russia. Though it doesn't really lead up to much of anything, I just thought it was a fascinating film. I don't know what it wanted to be tonally, because there are some moments where I thought it was so laugh out loud. They were like cringy writing. This definitely needed an editor, but I just thought it was refreshing in a way that, that you can like push ideas and stuff. I just love like pushing boundaries and having ideas still be fascinating and new. With every new Cronenberg, I just love his brain, what it does. But yeah, hard to recommend, but an interesting one. Okay guys, that was all the movies I watched in June. Let me know what you watched in June. What'd you love? I'd like to know. I love adding movies to my never-ending TBW. As always, be well, do good work, keep in touch. Literal thumbnail time, but I literally don't know what to do. I think I'm just gonna go like this. Do I look like I'm holding him hostage? I'm so sorry, Olaf. You have to put up with me like this. Okay, that's enough. I hate myself. Say bye, everybody.